I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Cisco Garcia.
Special guest today.
And today we're going to be talking about Pokemon, my favorite world ever created by mankind.
There's very few things that rival it. Maybe Final Fantasy, but that's a close second.
Well, if
I'd
you had
say.
to choose out of some fictional video game world, you could, this is where you could live it. You could transfer from Earth to Earth 10 or whatever you want to call those worlds.
Earth 10, yeah. Cloud 9.
Where would you want to go? I mean,
no.
I really think that Pokemon is the ultimate world to live in.
If it couldn't be Final Fantasy VIII, it would have to be Pokemon.
Or yeah, Final Fantasy would be pretty cool too.
I'm gonna have to go with Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too. Living like the casino world in Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. Like, would you want it like pre-Robotnik or post-Robotnik?
Oh, pre-Robotnik, easily.
Before
the real
No, fuck it. I want post-Robotnik.
Before
I
the
want an
Robot-
oil field.
Yeah, fuck.
outside
And then
my
when
window.
Robotnik comes and fucks all this shit up, then I'll go over to Pokemon.
Pre-Republican world, you know.
Speaking of Pelican Worlds, let's talk about a game that we go into the wild and take animals out of their natural habitat, capture them, and train them to fight for our pleasure.
I swear, it's like the most capitalist idea of all time. Gotta catch them all. I mean, don't leave a single fucking Pokemon around. You gotta fucking make them under control.
you
plus
put them
when
in a
you-
bowl where there's a small living space.
But they're
All
happy
day.
in there. No, the thing about it, really, it's actually a genius marketing scheme. That's 100. Now it's like what 700 or something now.
I think it's
but
649.
yeah, well now, like back then, it's like all right, that's 151 different action figures. That's 151 different trading cards. Plus, that's 151 stuffed animals. And so it's like where you can go from there. It's just like you're just raking in the cash like no other.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic.
So it is a very much a Republican thing.
It's terrible when you think about it. Going back to this whole, like, it doesn't hurt them to be in this, like, ball their entire lives. Think about it. It reminds you of that argument people say about, like, fish. You catch a fish, it gets in their hook, it gets a hook in the mouth. Oh, it doesn't hurt the fish. It's like, oh, it doesn't hurt the Pokemon. It's just in a small little ball. It's maybe, like, 2 inches of cubic space, all for, 23 hours a day.
Until it's forced to fight.
Exactly. Until it's forced to fight for
Well,
you and
maybe-
die, probably.
And you get all the credit, not the fucking animal in the ball.
Exactly.
Maybe the way they live is like an I Dream of Genie. It's actually kind of nice inside.
they got like plush couches, like Cloud 9 or something like that.
I Dream of Genie, you chuck her out like, fight!
Ah! But I was having a martini. No, fight now.
No, we don't got enough money anymore. You're gonna start fighting.
That would be the chick from My Dream of Genie. What if she was a Pokemon?
I Dream of Genie chick.
Yeah, what we're talking about in this.
What was her
story.
name again?
I forgot. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not important to the Pokemon story.
Yeah, exactly.
She was hot.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Pokemon.
Probably
So,
most used and abused Pokemon if she was one. But anyway,
as far as Pokemon's
People
concerned,
they probably wouldn't capture her just to fight. To be for
No.
other reasons.
dual use.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, Pokemon. So Pokemon is one of those things that's been around since about 1995 or so. Let's talk about the first time we were really into Pokemon. For me, it was Red and Blue. I was in 4th grade. Spencer and I were best friends back then, still are good friends. Oh, best friends, I'd say that. But anyway, yeah, Pokemon Red and Blue came out, and it was out in Japan, but it came out in America. Big smash hit.
Came out in 1995 in Japan and
Yeah.
1998 in America.
Yeah.
We're always kind of late on everything.
We were about, it was cool because it came out when we were both just about 10 years old. And in Pokemon, that was when you were allowed to become a Pokemon trainer. When you turned 10, so it was like, hey, it's perfect timing for
Something
us.
relatable.
Well, I remember that there was
Exactly.
2 things that came out right at the same time, and it was the most relatable 2 things ever. And one was Pokemon. It was about the exact same age, perfect timing for it, And the second was South Park. We were the exact same age as those kids in school, so everything was so
Exactly.
relatable.
Yeah, both are pretty...
Polar opposites.
Yeah,
but-
well, I don't know. You're both
kinda
pretty...
went hand in hand
You're
to
kind
me.
of in a world where humans treat other people cruelly and other animals cruelly. It's kind of the same
That's
thing.
actually a good point.
But anyway, let's talk about what was your first experience with Pokemon. Let's start with you, Ryan.
For me, I actually I'd come home from school and the anime show was on. And I remember just catching, I think I came in on the 2nd or 3rd episode. And before I even played the game, I just got into the show. I had no idea what it was. I just knew it was based off a video game.
Yeah.
So I just started watching the show and got really into it. By the episode, I'm going to say around what time? Probably by the time he gets the Thunder Badge in the show, that's by the time I actually picked up the game and started playing it because my cousin had it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from there on in, I was pretty much a fan of it from Red versus Blue. And once it got into Gold and Silver, I played it for a little while, but I'm not going to lie. I know Red and Blue like the back of my hand, but once you get past that, that's all this new stuff. I'm just like, what's a Meryl,
I just want to catch you with something. You said red versus blue.
Red versus blue.
You mean red? You red Pokemon Red and Blue.
I do like that show too,
This is
but
not
I meant
Halo,
red
but
and
yeah.
blue.
Yeah,
Red, blue, and
basically.
yellow. There we go.
Yeah.
Once we got past yellow, and that's where I kind of up to the part like in the show with the Orange Islands and all that stuff. I watched it there too.
Yeah, that was the last season I watched as well. For me, Pokemon was one of those things. Now, I sort of heard about it, but I was kind of like, whatever. Now, I went to my friend Riley Yakel's birthday party, and he had a Pokemon theme party, and I was like, Pokemon? What the hell is this? But whatever. So I was there, and he had this thing called, like, pin the vines on Bulbasaur, which is like pin the tail on a donkey. I was like, what the fuck
That
is this
sounds like
thing?
way too much.
Yeah, I was
effort.
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I mean, like,
But-
where do you put it exactly?
Exactly. There was like 5 different vines. You had to figure out a place. But I thought
How
it was
many
a
kids
really
put
game.
it on his dick?
You know what? They were blindfolded, but I'm sure a couple of them found their way there. But you know, so I played it. I saw it. I was like, this is cool. And then I think I watched the TV show. The first episode I saw was the Execute episode where Charmeleon evolves into I think it's Charmander evolves into Charmeleon, and
That was
you
like
see the
season,
Execute
that
and
was a season
Executors.
finale of that
It
one.
was. That was like and I started on the season finale, and then luckily I was like, okay, I'm gonna tape the rest of the episodes from now on. And then I got I think Spencer, didn't you have Pokemon Red?
No, I'll
You had
explain my
blue, you had
story.
blue,
I'll
yeah.
explain my story how I got to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll explain right now. Originally, I remember I saw the commercials on TV for the Pokemon game, and those were the ones where like,
Oh yeah,
They're like
the
in a
vacuum,
bus?
the vacuum thing.
well, yeah, the first one was like they're in a
Yeah.
bus.
I
Yeah.
forgot about this.
Yeah. And I think what happens in exactly is all these Pokemon are in a bus, and the bus driver gets out and he's like evil. It might be a woman or a man, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And they drop him off at like a car smashing plant,
Oh yeah,
and it smashes all the Pokemon in the bus down.
yeah.
And then what's left is like a little like Pokemon Red cartridge.
Yeah, it's like into this little like
It
machine
really is.
thing.
You don't really think how violent those kind of commercials are.
But
They,
you
they
know
don't,
what?
they're just all happy. It's like, yay, we're being crushed. But real life's like,
Holy shit! What's going on? The walls are coming in! The walls are coming in! Indy!
you see, like,
There's not enough Pokeballs for all of us. Yeah.
But then that's where I first originally heard about Pokemon. Now I didn't have a Game Boy at the time. I still only had a Sega Genesis. That was all I got
Yeah,
so
yeah,
far. So there was no way that like Pokemon was just a thing of like, oh, well those kids with the Game Boy's gonna play that.
Yeah.
But then I think my cousin came up to visit, and she had a Game Boy and Pokemon Blue, and she forgot the Game Boy at my house. And this is back in she lived like 3 hours away, and it wasn't as easy to give things back. So I had Pokemon Blue to play for about a couple months, and that was my original way of playing the game.
Yeah.
So I beat it originally on Pokemon Blue, and then I think I started watching the TV show later on too, because the WB like just came out on satellite on I guess it would have been Prime Star at the time. I think I don't think it was
it was
Dish yet.
Prime, you had Prime Star then, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been
I think it was Prime
so it would have been Prime Star. So we finally just got WB, which is cool because then Batman Beyond came out at the same time. I don't really remember what else was on there, but I just remember watching Pokemon and
Wasn't
Batman
important.
Beyond. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything else wasn't important because Pokemon and Batman Beyond went back
actually,
to back.
Jackie Chan
Yeah.
Chan cartoon,
I think that came a little later.
maybe. Or anyway, Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just jump in right now and say, while we're doing this podcast, I'm actually playing Pokemon. I'm playing Pokemon Leaf Green, and for all you Pokemon fans out there, I'm in that frustrating section where you're in the fucking Safari Zone. I know you're all thinking, oh god damn the Safari Zone. I mean, you got some cool Pokemon, but it takes forever to catch these fucking things. Like a Chansey, if you can catch a Chansey in the Safari Zone, back in the day, you were the man. I mean, like I remember, like I would go to school, and I remember when I caught a Chansey, I was like, oh my god, dude. I caught a Chansey, and all the kids were like, "Oh my god, how'd you do that?" Because it's like impossible. It's like a 1 in 500 chance to catch these damn things in here.
I want to bitch about WB really quickly
Okay, go ahead.
Go
because
ahead.
my life has been filled with cock teases of TV shows.
Yeah.
Originally, when I was a kid on Cartoon Network, I got to watch Johnny Quest, the original show.
Yeah.
I got to watch it for 2 weeks, and then they decided to take it off. And that was the time when you're a kid, you're like, this show is so cool. It's
Original
so
Johnny
amazing. The
Quest
original
or-
Johnny Quest, I said that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, so amazing. And then they take it away from me. Same thing happened to Pokemon. I watched Pokemon for literally about 3 or 4 months on WB, and then WB switched networks again. So it was only
Yeah.
on satellite for a very little time. So I had to go back and watch all of Cisco's like VHS tapes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then what was that station
It was
that
like
you had?
SWQ or
Yeah, there was some like
UGV or some weird
strange
station.
cable station that played reruns, and that's where I
Yeah.
watched a lot of those other episodes of it.
It had the first season, and I watched all of them. I taped them every day. I remember I got off of school. It came on at 3:30, so I came home. And at school, all day I was playing, Pokemon Red. I had Pokemon Red. I was playing that the entire time, like during breaks and sometimes in class. But I'd be at school playing the game, then I'd come home and watch the series, and loved it. Um, unfortunately, I only had about a year with these guys playing Pokemon. Then I moved to Hawaii, and I had my old Pokemon adventure there. But the cool thing was when I was in Hawaii, they had this thing at Walden's Books there every, I think it was Sunday, or maybe it was during the week, maybe it was a Wednesday, where if you brought your Pokemon cards, you could play with them with other people there, and then if you beat a certain amount of people, like the organization that ran this event would give you badges, like give you the Cascade badge or the Boulder badge. It was pretty cool. It went on for like 5 weeks. I know it sounds really nerdy, but it was actually really cool.
And like those things are always fun.
You got to meet people. You got to trade cards. You got to trade Pokemon
Some of those
games.
people you never wanted to meet again, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some of those people are like.
You're 10 years old and you don't realize that this guy who's like 36 coming into
Oh, yeah.
Sweatpants.
Back in those days, those guys were heroes to you back in the day.
When you're a kid, though, you look at that guy, it's like, he's so cool. He owns so much more.
Yeah.
It's like he buys every Pokemon card set the day it comes out. And then you realize later, it's like, oh, maybe that's not nearly as cool.
You realize later, those are those fuckers that clean out the Pokemon card sets at KB Toys when they're on sale.
I know, so bummed.
It's those guys. But so I was into Pokemon there, and then when Gold came out. Now Gold had come out in the Japanese version had come out. I had this friend named Eric who's from Japan, and he helped me with it. He bought the Japanese game, and I bought it too, and he helped me play through it. So I got a little insight on the new Pokemon games when they came out, and that was really fun.
I remember I played that one. I downloaded it on a ROM because that was like kind of when emulators and ROMs first started coming out. And the day I got a computer, like a week later, I figured out about ROMs. It was like, oh my gosh! And the only kind of things you could get that time was there was about regular Nintendo ROMs, Super Nintendo ROMs, and Sega Genesis ROMs. But then they also had Game Boy ones. That was about the only thing that had like the newest games on it.
Yeah.
And I remember downloading Gold and Silver because I was like, I wanted to see what they're like. So I played for about the first 3 gyms or so, as far as you can get in Japanese without getting too confused.
Exactly, yeah. No, I had to beat the game in Japanese though first. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn a little bit of Japanese. I'm gonna play this game, and I did it. But it was fun. I gotta say though, I stopped researching Pokemon after Gold and Silver. I don't know the names of them after that. I hardly know the names from that game. But I still played the remake. They're really fun games.
I took a slight break after Gold and Silver, I guess, because I didn't get Ruby and Sapphire right away. I got those. Yeah, you got Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, I played that one a little bit, but
I didn't get that. But then I started getting back into it again once it came out on the DS.
Yeah.
And then I played Emerald and played I think that's what that one was. And then Soul Silver and what was Gold and Gold?
I had Heart Gold.
Oh, yeah, Heart Gold.
Can I actually jump back just one second? Cisco, when you said you couldn't play the game, was it just like you couldn't get into these new characters, you just kind of lost the interest of the game?
I think I was a little Pokemoned out, honestly. Like, I was like, oh my god, there's 350 Pokemon here. I can't remember all of them. And at that time, I was getting more to Dragon Ball Z as well. I was getting to some other shows, and I don't know. I think I just like, okay, it's time for Pokemon to take a little bit backseat. And of course, every kid after a while, it's like, okay, Pokemon's not cool anymore. But then you come back to it 5 years later, wait, it was like, whatever, leave it. Pokemon's amazing.
Well, that's what I remember. It was funny because, like, Pokemon was really cool for about 4th grade, and then in 5th grade, they outlawed Pokemon at school.
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
I think that's one of the main things that stop kids from being into Pokemon, because the second they can't really bring it to school, now it becomes like some weird thing that people do at their house, and it's not like it took away the social aspect of it.
Yeah, it did.
My school, it actually was almost like a drug deal was going down whenever someone pulled out, like, come on with like a trench coat with like a binder of Pokemon. Yo, man, what you got? I got Mewtwo. Got a Charizard? Shit. So it was almost like a major, like, fucking drug deal going on.
Yeah,
Well, I remember, like, stuff like that, too, because I remember, like, there'd be, like, the older kids who got into Pokemon, like, literally day one, and this one, he probably was in 6th grade when we were in 4th grade, and he had a 1st edition Charizard holograph.
Yep.
And I remember he talked about it, it was just like, look at this, man. Like, he was just pulling out, like, pure cut cocaine.
It's just good shit, man.
And his little kid, Jesus fucking Christ.
No, yeah, I remember like that. I remember that too. Like,
how bad
I
do you
remember,
want this?
I remember going to this store. God, it was called Toys and Joys in Hawaii. It was this little Japanese. I know it's funny, Toys and Joys, but it was a Japanese store
Was
in
it
Hawaii.
ran by like Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit?
Sounds
Sounds like that
No,
name.
It was a completely Japanese import store, and back then they were like, "Oh my god, Japanese import stuff." Now you see that fucking FY, you see it everywhere. But back then it was like, "Oh my god, Japanese import stuff," and I think it's still around. It's still a great store. But I went there, and I remember buying the Japanese cards of Gold and Silver. and they'd come out, and everyone's like, and then I brought them to school, and everyone still has their old fashioned like Pokemon cards. I'm like, hey fuckers, look what I got, Japanese cards, whoa, and like you could like get like crazy
Legit?
trades for like crap cards. You could be like trading like I don't know what the starting 3 Pokemon, like the first evolution of them, for like like holograph,
Something.
holograph, Charizard, holograph Mewtwo. That
If they
was
just
fun.
wait 6 months, they could fucking get it.
Well,
But
the most thing
Exactly.
was is like if it had Japanese writing on it, it would sell 10 times better.
Yes, it would. It really would. People
In the
really
U.S.,
like
people wanted Japanese. They would pay $5, $10, $20 more just because it's in Japanese.
Yeah.
relating to what you just said, Spencer, there's actually this kind of goes back to the card shops. There was a card shop where I got all my Pokemon stuff because all the way from when I was born through middle school, I lived in the Silicon Valley, and you'd think a Pokemon would be very easy to find there. At the time, it was really hard to find. There was just one place, this like little hole-in-the-wall store called Collector's Choice. And they primarily just sold baseball cards, basketball cards, sports collectibles. And then one day, I'm assuming this is what happened. They said, oh, this Pokemon thing is big. We got some middle school kids just like a few blocks down the road. Might as well just sell them. And then they just fucking sold out like no other. They just overload that store with just Pokemon shit, just everything Pokemon, all this imported Pokemon stuff, and they would charge you up the ass for these things. You would get like because they just get everything Pokemon they could find that was imported, and you get like an inch figure of like any character, just an inch long figure. They would charge you $1 for that.
Really?
And they knew you would fucking pay for it. They knew you would pay for it. So
Now, how much do they charge for the cards there?
I think the cards were like standard price.
What
But,
was standard price back then? Like $3 or $4?
It was about $3 a pack.
but for like
$5
Japanese
for a
cards,
Japanese
what you're
one,
saying,
mostly.
Japanese cards,
Yeah.
they would charge up the ass, especially if it's holographic.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, Japanese holographics were way more common than
Yeah.
English holographics.
No,
'Cause
they
every
were-
card had a Japanese holographic in it. Every Japanese set did. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember that there was like 4 places in Tuolumne County you could generally buy Pokemon cards at. And that was 7-Eleven, Flyers, Flyers became the hot spot
Yeah, yeah, I
because it
remember
had
that,
Pokemon
yeah.
cards, because they had Japanese cards. That's what made that hot spot. KB Toys.
Maybe toys, yep.
And then there was this place by like Live Oak Music. It was called, I can't remember what it's called. It was called something and Sons. Like as a kid, I just thought of it as Sanford and Son. So
Sanford and Son, Pokemon cards.
So like that place carried some Pokemon stuff too. Like they focused more on baseball cards and then like Star Wars / Magic cards.
Yeah.
Second
But they had
came in.
Pokemon too.
Yeah.
My place just focused solely on Pokemon. All the sports fans were pissed off when they came in because there'd just be all this other heroes and icons of like their past just jammed in the corner. Pokemon taking up the whole area.
Well, I remember one thing that was really dumb is like you go to some sports card shops and you go like, what, you don't have Pokemon cards? Like what the fuck's wrong with you guys? Who the fuck wants a John Elway card? I want a Pokemon card, damn
Pokemon
it.
card, dude. Pokemon's like a sport. Come on, fuckers.
Well, just to me, it just seemed like any sports card place that didn't carry Pokemon around 1998 to like 2001 was fucking retarded.
Yeah, they were losing
You lost
money.
out a ton of money if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, this place kind of went under as soon as Pokemon went under. I know that much because they 90% of their stock became Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess we focus too heavily on it.
Yeah.
See, if you always keep like Magic around, you always keep some fucking nerds coming through the doors.
There's a place downtown called I don't remember what it's called. There's a collector's place on downtown Sonora, and
You
that
talking
guy
about like the sword shop or like?
Oh
Not the
yeah, the
sword shop.
Legends,
not Legends.
just-
It's called Collectors. That's Legends went under.
Oh, the baseball shop.
yeah, that guy you could just tell, just kind of like
Yeah, that guy never bought Pokemon cards. He was a dick.
Well, no, he has like whenever I went in there a few times just looking for like a Father's Day gift for my dad 'cause he likes NASCAR and the Niners. And I was just looking around. Remember, some kids came in buying some Magic cards. This guy just gave a look like, "Fucking kid, why don't you go pick up a goddamn baseball or a football? Get the fuck out of here! Give me your money."
Oh, that guy even sold out once.
Pokemon cards.
Your Pokemon Digifucks.
See, that guy even sold out once.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Because he actually had a Magic Gathering tournament in there one time.
I
Oh,
bet he was
really?
just bitter.
I
as
remember
fuck
RJ
in the
went to it.
corner,
Yeah,
just like
he
with his
kinda like-
arms crossed. I want to kill him.
Probably his son was a fucking nerd.
Like, God damn it! I'm sucking the $500 dick of the Magic cards here.
There's a bunch of fat, stinky, sweaty men in here.
Exactly.
I knew I should have set up the misters on the outside doors.
Wouldn't have helped that much when you think about it.
Now, something funny about Pokemon though is it's amazing how many kids collected the cards, but only a handful of them actually knew how to play the freaking game.
Yeah, I was one of those kids. Here's
Oh,
where I
come
look,
on,
put my
man.
head down in shame.
You
See, I
gotta-
love
it was
playing
a
the
great
game.
I love playing that
I
game.
was just one of those kids like, it has Pokemon on it. I gotta buy it. You know, I was just one of those kids.
It's one of those games. If more people played it, I would play it now. Like, I need to find more people. I mean, I couldn't play with new cards. It's probably way too complex for me. Too old for me. But like the old ones, I could still play those games again and again and again. It was just kind of like Magic, a little less complex than Magic, but fun stuff. Not that I was really into Magic, but I played it a little bit.
Just clarify.
Just clarify, I'm not that fucking nerdy. But you know,
Well, I will
one
say
of those-
Magic, as nerdy as it is fun. It is a fun game.
Oh, I'm not talking shit. I was just giving Cisco shit.
Yeah, whatever, Dunigan.
Do you
We know you're
remember, like,
talking
the-
shit.
You'll forgive me in a few minutes.
There was literally the biggest comeback wave of Pokemon in high school, which sounds like the strangest thing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Like, there was a comeback. It was when Fire Red and Leaf Green came out.
Yep.
Like, there was a swarm of comebacks. I remember everybody started bringing their Game Boys back again. And the rich kids had Fire Red and Leaf Green. And some kids came with their
With
big
their red-
brick.
With their brick, like I remember,
like original Game Boy with, like, Pokemon Blue in it.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember. Like, shout out to our good friend Pat here.
and
Pat and Walt, yeah.
and
But-
Max had
and
it.
Max too. Yeah. I remember in Spanish class, Pat would have his like old-fashioned Game Boy playing Pokemon Red while everyone was like, you know, like trying to listen to Miss Blair talk. But my God, that was like such fun times. And then you go and like challenge like people at break. I remember one time like challenging Nick Cachopo to a game once. Like he had like 6 level 100 Pokemon, and this was on Fire Red and Leaf Green, the game that you didn't have the missing number trick, so you couldn't get the rare candy. So I'm like, dude, you trained like 6 100 Pokemon. What do you do with your life? How can you do that? I can barely get over like level 70 in that game.
Well, I remember when you actually play like verse people at the video game. It was almost kind of like when you're walking around the game and a trainer automatically like a exclamation mark appears over their head.
Yeah.
They walk over to you. Like shorts are comfortable, don't you think? You start battling. It was kind of like that, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Challenge people in real life, though.
yeah, I know. It was fun.
Well, I remember the Pokemon cards even came back at that point too. Like people started pulling their decks out again and having little battles. It was amazing how like Pokemon had such a big comeback.
Pulling their dicks out.
Pulling their dicks out, and just like
Measuring them,
have little
comparing,
battles, you know.
sword fight.
have a trade. Have the trade. You
Let
lost.
us
Give me your
trade.
dick.
I want 6 of your dicks. Your water dick.
And then like I remember it was also
It's a t-shirt for
that was
that.
right when the DS Pokemons came out.
Yeah, right then around that same time too. And I think that was also around the same time that Ruby and Sapphire came out.
No, they came out before actually.
It was a little bit before, but people were still playing that game. a
No,
lot.
because at that point people were you brought whatever you could get. If you had red and blue, you brought it. If you had yellow, gold, silver, you brought it. If you had
Yeah.
crystal, you brought it. You know.
Oh yeah, Pokemon Crystal. I remember that one. I used to have that copy.
I think I still have that one actually.
You know, I'm surprised they didn't make Pokemon like Clear Crystal or something, like a remake of Crystal for the DS. Like
No,
they made the remake of Gold and Silver, but I don't know. You think they'd
Well, I
combine
think
them?
they had that tower and stuff that was like in that crystal one was in the Soul Silver remake and stuff.
Yeah. Now, Crystal was cool because that was the first time in any Pokemon game where you could choose if you wanted to, you could be a girl. Now, usually it was all like,
That was
oh,
actually, like, the
man
big
thing,
feature of
but-
that game,
Yeah, that was
though.
the big feature. He's like, you can be a girl? Wow! it was like, I can be Slave Leia? No, you're just a girl. Oh, okay. But, yeah, that was a fun one. I had that for a little while. Again, that came out right about when I stopped playing Pokemon a lot, but it was still a fun game.
I think that was like the right before I took a break. I played that one, and then Ruby and Sapphire came up. Which Ruby and Sapphire actually had the best feature that they took off like the second they realized probably their sales went down. On that one, you had like 2 or 3 save files, and I think what they realized is that if you give the people 2 or 3 save files, they don't buy the other one.
Yep.
Because one of the main reasons why you bought the other cart was because you wanted to start a new file, but you didn't want to erase your old file.
You
so
want
you
to
just
trade
decided,
the
like,
other ones, you know?
yeah, why don't I just buy the other one then? Because
Yeah.
then I could trade and do all this cool stuff.
And you could like, trade off like, okay, I know it's not this game, but talking about Red and Blue, like I want a Charmander even though I picked Bulbasaur. Okay, well, I can restart it, get another one.
Well, the best way to trade too was if you had Pokemon Stadium, because that's how I got 151 Pokemon on Yellow. Because
Yeah.
instead of having to do the Game Boy trade thing, where it was like dun 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 dun
Taking
dun,
forever,
yeah, it
yeah.
took like 2 minutes to trade each Pokemon. On Pokemon Stadium, I would pop in my red cart, plug it in, and upload all my Pokemon from Red onto Pokemon Stadium.
Yep.
Pop in my blue cart, upload all my Pokemon from that, and then pop my yellow one and put them all onto that cart, and then I had 151 Pokemon, and it took me all of like less than 10 minutes to do all this.
When you think about it, Pokemon actually, it's one of the franchises that's has to make so little effort, and like that almost is like that's almost a selling point for it, because that whole game, Pokemon Stadium, it was really All right, same thing you do. Actually, less than what you do in the actual game. You just battle in 3D.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God, that's fucking amazing.
And that
yeah,
was
I know.
huge.
Pay
Oh
for
my
it.
God, yeah. But I will say one thing that game had going for it was that I really, really, really like those mini games.
The mini games
Those
are really fun.
And playing the, I liked playing it on the N64. Actually, playing the game itself.
Yeah, because you could play it on the N64. There was a couple selling points to it. I mean, like,
yeah.
yes, the coolest thing that Pokemon
It's really the
needs
most
to
cheap
do.
bastard thing you could possibly.
No, it really
do.
is. Like, it's just
Yeah,
like
it is,
cheap 3D tournament battling.
These
Yeah.
stupid fucking kids will pay for it.
You know,
Yeah, and charge $70 for
put
it.
a couple Mario Party style mini games in there, and then
Yeah.
you could play the game on your TV. Unlike just in
Which
case you don't have a Super Nintendo and
Which is
Oh,
not
yeah,
as
yeah.
big of a ripoff as Pokemon Snap. But
Now, Pokemon Snap, okay, I
That's
still
actually
say
a fun
I
game,
like
though.
that game, though. I
The one thing
played
about
that
Pokemon Snap though is really there's not really any games that you go around just taking photographs though.
But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, like, okay, it's a ride, but it's a video game.
Yeah.
You're just going on a track. Because when I first heard about the game, I assume, and when you're a kid, you just imagine the most
Like
extravagant
first-person
thing.
shooter.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I'm on
First-person
I'm gonna
shooter Pokemon.
Meow,
bam, 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 meow.
Pokemon poaching. Yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon poaching. And which brings me back to a point that Spencer and I were talking about the other day. I still don't understand why they have not made a Team Rocket game. Team Rocket is the coolest thing in Pokemon. And they still haven't done that. Like, they're really trying to be like, kids, Team Rocket's bad. We're going to make it look really cool. But remember, Team Rocket's bad. Team Rocket's bad. You shouldn't be Team Rocket. Like, seriously, it's like...
Make it
no,
with the Grand
like,
Theft Auto engine.
It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, seriously, Team Rocket
Make
is
the
one of those things
violent
that
one,
should
the
be a
M-rated
game.
Pokemon game.
Well, it
Everyone
doesn't have to
loves
be
Team Rocket.
violent. It would just be cool if you actually
I'm
just
just
played
joking,
as
yeah.
Team
And you
Rocket.
could like poach Pokemon or something like that. Like steal Pokemon from other trainers.
Well, maybe you don't like poach them, but you could steal them and then you like bribe people, and then it just has
Yeah.
more like
I just imagine being kind of like the Godfather. You walking into a business, like, give me your Pokemon. You know?
like roping up some
Shake
guy.
him, you punch him. Okay, I'll give you 2 Pokemon a week. No, 4. Okay. Oh, you pushed me too far.
Yeah, the Godfather game. You start going around just breaking shit in the
Yeah,
guy's
yeah.
house.
You just spin like a
broke my
Dino
Pokemon.
King after the guy, just in his own shop, just destroying shit.
Throw a Kangaskhan out and destroy like a Pokemon Center. Ah!
But here comes another biggest. This is the biggest point of all time. Why have they never made a Pokemon game that was like a 3D kind of like adventure, like a Final Fantasy game, but it was Pokemon?
Oh, I know. Seriously.
That would be such an easy sell.
They made that one for GameCube that tried to sell us off like that, but that wasn't what we wanted.
Wasn't it just generally like Stadium 2 in a sense or something?
That was for N64. No, Pokemon Coliseum. It
Oh,
actually
yeah.
had like an RPG element to it, like it was. But no. Just give us Pokemon Red and Blue, but like, like a Final Fantasy style.
Yeah,
I mean,
make
that
it
would have
like
been
a
perfect.
third-person
It could have been
game.
on the N64 for one. It could have been on the GameCube. It could have been on the Wii. It hopefully should be on the Wii U.
I really, it must have been something with sales, like they feared for Game Boy sales, but God, they've only banked on Game Boy players. Like, oh, that's our seller, that's all we're gonna pander to. It's like, yeah, there's Game Boy players out there, but if you expand a little bit and put the effort into making it into a third-person game, like for a system, I'd buy it.
Chances are, if you have a Nintendo handheld, you have a Wii or a GameCube.
Exactly, and that's one thing I got to say. Another thing I'm very happy about. I'm very glad that Nintendo got its hands on Pokemon when it did. I'm very glad that Game Freak, got was with Nintendo, and it's not on Xbox or PS3. It's just Nintendo. I'm very happy that's the case, and I hope it will always be that case.
Yeah, because that'd be weird.
Yeah, that would just be weird.
But it's one of those ones like, was there even a Pokemon game, even in like one of those cheap knockoff ones for like Wii at all?
Oh,
Like,
Like one of those ones where it's like,
isn't
like
there like
a
some
puzzle
kind of,
game or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
something stupid.
There's probably something like that. I don't remember, but
I know there's like Pikachu's like race or something on DS or something like that.
yeah, I know. Well, I'm talking about on the Wii, though, like on
On the
console.
Wii. Oh.
yeah,
I want to say there was like, isn't there like the Pokemon Channel or something like that on one of them?
There was a Pokemon Channel, but I'm talking about like a full-on like game.
Oh, it wasn't a game of something? Was that just something for the Wii?
I never downloaded it. I think it cost money, so I was like, I don't.
Yeah. Now, did you ever play that Hey You Pikachu game?
I did.
On the
I
Xbox.
never played it. My
I-
friend was.
That
into
wasn't
it.
for Xbox. It was
I mean,
N64.
why did I say Xbox?
Xbox.
I was thinking of like, because it came with the little box thing on it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
plug it. For some reason, now every single time I think of a box in my life, X is in front of it. I don't know why.
Yeah, exactly. But I never
My-
played that game. But I remember a lot of people said it was pretty fun.
I got irritated by it because I would say something like, the game didn't really matter on what you said. It mattered more on tone. Because there would be, all right, Pikachu responds to certain things you say. But it was just more of just things said, not so much sense like, all right, see you later, Pikachu. And they just give me a pissed off look, like, fuck you. I'm like, all right, fuck you too,
I gotta go to fucking school, Pikachu. I can't fucking spend time with you all day. God.
Throw a fucking apple at him. Get the fuck out of here.
Well,
Johnny Pikachu would show up the next day still.
Well, there was two games that came
pissed
out
off.
right along the same time that was the same things. There was that Seaman game that came out for Dreamcast, which is really just Hey You Pikachu, but with a fish and with a guy's face on it. Well, no, apparently I never played this game because it just seemed like I don't know if I want to put my money into it. Secondly, I don't want people to see that I own this game.
Look what I get! Like I got Seaman.
But then you like
so cool.
you like
man.
raise this like
The
manfish
sequel
thing,
is Swallow.
this manfish, and you talk to it and
Give credit
shit.
to South Park right there.
Yeah. Manfish.
I remember that game though. Yeah.
Yeah, remember Seaman? It had a fish and it had like a
The
man's
man's
face.
face.
It was like, what the fuck
At
is
some
this?
point, you could have babies have like little fish with little man face.
It's like, who the fuck thought that up? And who thought that would sell? Like, really?
You
There
remember?
had to be some guy and say, you know, we should make a game with a fish with a face.
Yeah. Man.
Well, really, what you really think is like, you know what game people really want? If you could
blow
if
people's
you
fucking minds.
just make a fucking virtual reality woman that you could talk to, that would sell like no other.
Why the fuck did they capitalize on that one?
Yeah, and it's like just make it the same style as Hey You Pikachu, but with like you know,
It's
like,
like,
you're in like a strip club or like
Take a page out of the sixth day or whatever that Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
movie.
or like he has like a
and-
virtual reality
and
woman.
just do that. Yeah. You know, so and it's coming at some point. but yeah.
man.
Seaman. But now do you remember that Pokemon? Like it was supposed to be like the Pikachu Tamagotchi thing. It was like I
Yeah.
remember like the Pokemon Pikachu commercials. Like
Did it hook,
Once again, what
did
a
it
sh-
hook up to the Hey You Pikachu? Is that what it hooked up to?
No, it was just a Gigapet. You just shook it.
You
That's
just
all
shook
you
it.
fucking did.
Yeah. It's,
Just fucking jerk it off. You put it in your crotch.
Yeah, no, I remember like my friend, like I remember like he would say like, yeah, my mom would go to the gym and I'd give it to her so she'd like put it on her like belt when she ran. Like,
Well, I remember they gave us that
How
thing on Soul
fucking
Silver.
lazy do you have to be? All you had to do is shake the thing like, you know, Mom, this is like the lazy man's Tamagotchi. I don't really feel like just fucking put it on your,
You
do it
work
for me.
out.
Yeah. Thanks
You
for
work
buying
out.
it. You fucking do it.
you go do it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I remember they had like a Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold. They gave out that like little Pokeball that you could transfer your Pokemon to, and apparently it worked just like that, where like it shook.
Oh
And
yeah,
you can
and
level
I
up-
never got into
And
that.
I tried. I'm like, this sounds fucking awesome. I go running every day. I'll fucking level up Pokemon in no time. You put it on there, they barely don't even go up like one level after like 5 miles. It's like, fuck that. That's the stupidest thing ever.
I know.
Well, at least that thing ultimately had some
had a
sort of
purpose.
purpose. This thing, it
And
just
you got kind of like bonus items, I
yeah,
guess.
you got some.
you
cool
would
stuff,
look at Pikachu and he'd be dancing and smiling. That's all he'd be doing.
Yeah, did he die eventually if you didn't take care of him?
I don't think he died.
Just
I
like
think-
every other Tamagotchi,
I-
they eventually die.
I don't think he
Either
died.
they die or the battery goes out. One or the other. Their fate is known.
Exactly.
I don't think Pikachu ever died. I don't think like we can't draw Pikachu. We can't like animate Pikachu dying. It was probably he was just sad or he's in a Pokeball or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think he went into a Pokeball after a while. He just kind of left him alone.
The sound like fuck you too. You know?
But that little like Pokeball thing from Soul Silver could be a really cool thing because like I thought it was like that'd be a sweet way like if you really wanted to level up some Pokemon just so you could evolve them.
They really
Yeah.
just want to make kids exercise, really.
You
Yeah, I know,
Nintendo's
they-
kind of at that point.
And that's fine. That's cool. But make it a little easier.
Make
Come
it
on.
worthwhile,
Your
though.
average like fat ass fourth grader doesn't run 10 miles
If
to
I could
level
run,
up
if
their
I
Pokemon.
run 5 miles and I'm already pissed off because I got like no progress on it, I can't imagine
You
anybody
know,
else getting a whole lot of progress.
exactly. Yeah.
Give it to like a marathon runner to get some progress.
I'm taking a few steps back. Did you guys ever see the Pokemon movies in theaters?
Oh yeah. Of
yeah.
course.
So the first one, of course, they had
The
four.
first one, the longest line I've ever seen, almost as long as Star Wars. So
Revenge of
you know,
the Sith.
They
almost.
kind of came out around the same time too, even.
Yeah, exactly. Now that was such a great selling point because they gave those cards out, like to each kid.
And there's
that
4
bought it.
different ones, so like I only had like 2 of them because I think I traded lots of them because I only saw the movie. I don't know if I even saw the movie twice. I remember just trading
I
cards.
think I
a
saw
lot.
it like 6 times, honestly.
I saw the first 2 in theaters. Those are the only ones I really ever seen.
Yeah.
I remember seeing. I'll be honest. The Pokemon, the first movie. It's the last movie. Keep in mind, I was like in the 4th grade or something. 4th grade, so don't judge. But it was the last time I cried in the movie.
Pokemon got sad.
Yeah,
It
Pokemon
wasn't
was a
even.
sad
It wasn't
thing.
even like. It wasn't even so much like. There's the part where Ash dies, but it wasn't so much Ash. I didn't give a shit about Ash. Ash
Okay.
annoyed me.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Pikachu because there's a part where he dies. Pikachu's like nudging him, like, "Come on, get up, asshole!" And just
Yeah.
shaking him, and all of a sudden,
Come on, asshole, get up.
He
Pika,
got
Pika.
subtitles. That's what he's saying. You know, Pikachu's like cursing a lot, like, and he's like, but he starts crying. He's like, "The fuck!" You know, he just starts crying, getting all depressed, and all the Pokemon. It's like, "Oh my God, don't cry, Pikachu!" No, you know. So
Yeah.
now it's just like, oh, whatever. But back then, though, that was emotional shit for you.
It really was. And then, of course, that one episode of Pokemon. saddest episode ever when Pikachu decides to leave, but then comes back at the end of this episode. But I remember crying on that
was
episode.
so sad. Yeah,
Such a sad
and
episode.
the music that played with it.
Yeah, you're like, what do they do? Seriously, that song makes you want to kill yourself afterwards.
They
like,
could
come
play it
on.
at a funeral, really.
Yeah, you could. Somehow, someday, we
like, oh my
have
God,
to
this is
say goodbye.
such a sad song. Where'd you get this? The Pokemon to be a Master soundtrack.
I want that played at
We
my
already got-
funeral. I'm sorry.
That's what that politician would the Republican, the black dude, what was his name?
Herman Cain?
Yeah, he's all like, I'd like to quote the Pokemon movie.
Oh, yeah,
Here's
what did he say? I forgot.
I don't know where the quote was though.
He said, he says I may quote the song from the Pokemon
It
movie.
was from the song of the credits.
It was
Gotta
like,
catch them all. All their votes.
no, it was like, it isn't always easy. Sometimes the world feels like it's on top of you, or something stupid like that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever play that Pokemon pinball game? Because I remember that was
Yeah,
the first
I had
Game
that
Boy
game.
game to have a Rumble Pack in it.
Yeah,
I
I mean, it was
remember
like
that
a
one,
huge
yeah.
cartridge and it died out.
It was
eventually.
actually kind of a fun pinball game. I remember I used to wake up early at your house, Cisco,
Yeah.
and like that was back in the day when your entire family slept in till like 11 or
Yeah.
noon, and I'd wake up at like 8 or 9, and I'd just go over and play a bunch of video games for a while. I remember playing that one a bunch in like those rolling chairs you had.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember that. Now, I always played the Pokemon trading card game, Game Boy game.
Oh, it's such a good game.
That is so fun. I just loved how when you beat, it was honestly, it was the poor kid's way to really enjoy Pokemon cards. Because you paid $30 for the game, and then every time you beat somebody, you got a new Pokemon pack. You're like, oh my God, I got a pack of Pokemon cards, and I didn't have to pay for it? Wow!
Well, I noticed a lot of Game Boy games around that time. They were all like just trying to be Pokemon. Because I remember like a friend of mine let me borrow Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color,
Yeah.
and for some reason it worked like Pokemon. You started some guy, you'd go to somebody like, hey man, if you want to go against Mario, you got to go against like these 8 guys over here. And
Well, that Pokemon trading card game was like that's actually like was the best way to learn how to play that game was
Yeah.
by playing that. That's how I really learned how to master that game was by playing the Game Boy game.
They really taught you how to play it.
the game didn't really have any of like the 36-year-old guys in sweatpants, living in their mother's basements. That's where.
Yeah, now those creepy guys trying to be like, I'll play Pokemon cards with you in my house. So
The
like,
guy from Family Guy's there.
okay, kids, get in my Pokeball.
Well, even other games start throwing in like card things. Because Final Fantasy VIII threw in a card game, which
yeah,
was
that's
like
right.
amazing.
Dun.
And so like cards just started becoming kind of popular just in things.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy IX threw one in there too, and it was not nearly as cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I almost wish they made like little trading card sets for the Final Fantasy VIII ones. That would be
That
kinda
Final
cool
Fantasy
little
VIII,
thing.
that could be a standalone game. That's how fun that is.
Yeah, that was a really fun game. It was very difficult and very frustrating. All those stupid rules.
Well, how
they
many times you had to
but-
fucking reset the game too?
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, I lost Cypher.
reset,
You know,
reset.
oh, Cypher's gone. Reset.
And some of those things too, it's like you had to reset, and then you had to run like 6 screens back up again because that's where the save point was.
Yeah, exactly.
If you guys can remember, what was your general team from when you were first playing Pokemon?
From my first time
What
playing
was your
Pokemon,
general
For
team?
the first round of playing Pokemon Red.
maybe not the
Yeah.
first round, but just kind of like your youth round. Like,
Yeah, generally.
I was always Charmander. I always picked Charmander or Bulbasaur, but usually Charmander. I usually had all 3 birds. Sometimes I had like a Nidorino. I think I had that once. I had that a couple times. And then maybe like your random Pokemon that surfed.
See, the ones that I always had is I always had Charizard too, or Charmander.
Yeah.
That's mostly the one I always chose. But like I switched it up each time I play the game. I think I chose something different. I had Butterfree because that was one of the first ones you got, and since like by the time it really does a great job for the first couple bosses.
Yeah.
And by that point, you're like, well, fuck, I've had it at this part. I'm taking it the whole way.
Yeah.
I always liked Arcanine. That was one that I always trained up.
That was a cool one.
Yeah, I probably always had at least one legendary bird because you need something to fly.
And they were all so good. It's like I don't have to train these things, and they're good. So I'm like, why not?
Yeah, why not? It makes it pretty darn easy.
Yeah.
Well, because the way that you're supposed to play Pokemon is you're supposed to play it like you're supposed to equally
them out.
train every Pokemon, but there's not enough people to battle in that game to do that. So it's really you're
Like
better off just
2.
training 2. Yeah,
Like,
that's
2,
what I've always
3 at the
done.
most, but yeah, 2. For me, like this file I have right now of Leaf Green, I'm training a Pikachu up because I'm like I've never actually done that, so I'm gonna try it out, and I picked Charmander.
Well, that's kind of the
My
fun thing about well, I'll let you go just say it, but that's kind of the fun thing about Pokemon is you really have so many choices of who you can take to train that you can really play the game over a lot and get a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So the coolest thing too is like, especially if you got other files, is you just trade over Pokemon that you catch like way later in the game.
Yep.
And start them at the very beginning. That's always fun too.
I
But-
remember. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
My usual team, because I had the first one I played was blue, but then the once I got yellow, that's when I primarily played. My usual team was, and this is a very generic team, just because I watched the show so much. Pikachu, Charizard, Venusaur.
Oh, if you played Yellow, you had
Blastoise.
all three of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Mew and I kind of would rotate between Nidoking and Psyduck. Not Psyduck, the badass one. The badass
Golduck?
one.
Golduck.
Golduck, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about Yellow that you got all those. Yeah, I think if I played Yellow, I always had all three of them.
I really
Why
wish
not?
they had done that and I'd fixed that for Leaf Green and Fire Red. I wish you could get all of them in this game without having to like trade them back like on another file. But that was a really cool thing that Pokemon Yellow did. Other than the fact they made up for it because like I'm like I don't want fucking Pikachu. Honestly, it was a cool gimmick, but it's like you couldn't. One thing you couldn't evolve that Pikachu, and it's the only fucking Pikachu you could catch in the game. So it's like, oh great, I have to trade up to get a fucking Raichu now from another game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They had some kind of cool things too in Yellow. They had, because they had like actual like Jesse and James was in there.
Yeah.
Everybody looked the way they did in the show.
Yeah, I
Everybody
think it
gets
looked more
Brock
like
and
the
Misty.
show. Yeah.
They added some cool elements to that game. Now let's talk about some of those hidden things in the game people always talk about. Like for example, let's start with Bill's Secret Garden.
Oh yeah,
You
all the
remember
rumors.
All the rumors.
That really sounds just like some fucking pedophile thing, right? Bill's Secret Garden.
No, Bill's Secret Garden was supposed to be the place where you could catch all the rare Pokemon.
And it's not. It's I've gotten there before. All it is you go to Bill's house. There's a little, and it's not even behind its house. It's to the right of his house. You see this little like 4 little square like area you can go to, and you can surf there if you trade for a surf Pokemon and you go there and you get there, and you can just walk around there and there's not even grass. It's just land.
Yeah.
It's stupid. And I remember it fucking up your game, so don't do it.
I remember, what was the one there's one, this is like the most bullshit, because Pokemon was one of those, there's so many like urban myths around it, like, you can do this, all these
Well, that was
secret
because
shit.
like kind of I mean, I know the internet was out at the time, but that still was kind of like the pre-internet age where like things were still told by word of mouth and by
Yeah.
magazines and
Yeah.
stuff.
There's one what I was called the Pokegods.
Pokeguts.
I never heard this one.
This is fucking retarded.
Okay.
A kid cranked on a Mountain Dew told me this one. You know,
Okay.
So, of course, that's
Sounds
all
like
we hung out with.
most Pokemon fans.
Yeah, when we were kids.
Or anybody in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Generally,
Except for Surge in the 90s lots of times.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead with your story,
there's
though.
Lieutenant Surge actually.
Yeah, I know.
No, but like, it was something. I don't remember all the details, but at some point you had to go talk to this random person, go talk to that random person, and you would eventually end up with a TM called Jump. Was it or the ones that are permanent that actually help you get through? Were they TM or A?
HMs.
HMs.
Hidden
You
machines.
got an HMs, and it was like go back to Pallet Town, and there's like the fence that surrounds Pallet Town. Use Jump, and you only for some reason only Meowth could use Jump. You use Jump, get over that, and then over there was like the Pokegods, and they were like just nothing could beat them. They're all powerful, which really sounds like it makes for a boring fucking game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
See, now the one that I really remember was that I think you had to trade a Pokemon at the very beginning that had Cut and Surf,
Yep.
and then at the SS
S. St. Anne, yeah.
St. Anne, you could
The truck.
surf over to the truck, and apparently you'd be able to. I think you had to have strength too. And you
Yeah.
push the truck, and Mew
Mew
was supposed
was
to be
underneath
there.
Now,
That never fucking
that's
worked.
half
Yeah.
true. Because the truck is there, you can go there, but you can't push it, you can't use strength. You're just at the truck.
Well, yeah, the stuff's
it's actually
there,
not even, yeah, it's just like a
but there's
car.
just nothing. I mean, there's nothing special about
yeah.
it.
yeah.
The only one out of all these cool little like hidden things that was the truth was the missing number from Red and Blue, which we talked about earlier a little bit. And the missing number was one of these things for any of these Pokemon fans. I'm sure you knew about it. You had to first go to the man who taught you how to catch Pokemon in Vertigan City. You go to this man, you watch him catch Pokemon, you save the game after that. Then you fly to Cinnabar. Or maybe you didn't fly. I think you had to surf there. I don't think you could fly. And you went to the eastern shoreboard.
No, you could fly.
Cinnabar. Okay, yeah, you went to the eastern shoreboard of Cinnabar, and you put an item that you wanted duplicated,
Like
like
your
rare
sixth-
candies, on your 6th slot,
Yeah.
and you went up and down the eastern side of the island until you first off you catch some really cool Pokemon. You catch like Clefable, Wigglytuff, which is really weird random Pokemon.
And they're really high level
And
too.
they're really high level, really cool things. And then you would find this weird, like, crapped out, like, little, like, looks like pixelated thing called Missing No. And if you just have to beat it or catch it. I think
just catch it.
You
No,
gotta get a catch.
You
it.
didn't catch it because
Or-
if you caught it, like,
It fucked up your game.
yeah, either fucked up your game or gave you something kind of good, but
Yeah.
or like a level like a really high level Meowth or something weird like that.
Yeah, you had to
You had to fight, I think,
Yeah, you have to fight it. Yeah, and then when you left it,
or run away even maybe.
you'd get 100 or 90. I think you'd get 99 of whatever item was on your 6th slot. So you got rare candies, and that was the way you trained like a bunch of Pokemon really high if you didn't want to train certain Pokemon.
Well, the cool thing about that though is that was a really good way to like get all 150 Pokemon for all those Pokemon you didn't want to sit there for hours on ends training, because the only downfall of the Pokemon I think is the only real area you can really train is the Elite Four. Because battling just wild Pokemon is not worth it, and after you kind of go through the game, you've already battled everybody else in the game. You can't battle them again. Like that's the only downfall I've always thought the Pokemon is like you kind of like wipe everybody out, but you can't really train them. But this was a perfect way to do that. And then also, if you want to be a cheap bastard, you get all the rare candies, make your Pokemon level 100. Then you get all like the proteins and all those little things, and then boost your stats all the way up.
And then go challenge your friends, be like, "Hey, fuckers, I'll kill you." Yeah. Yeah, that was that. But that was a really cool thing. I really kind of wish they had just added that little like glitch into the red and gold, fire red and leaf green, just for those kids that knew about that, like a little bit of nostalgia
like,
there.
I don't know how you'd figure that out on your own. That code though, like
Yeah. They
mean,
must
that-
have been
that-
some-
Someone with a lot of free time.
that had to happen by total accident. Like you accidentally talked to that guy, that you flew down, and then you just decide to start like surfing right
and you're
there.
like, what the hell, a Clefable? Yeah.
What else is over here?
Yeah.
Pixels.
What the fuck? Look at my 6-item slot.
Yeah.
There's 99. It was cool because you also get 99 Master Balls too. You could do that way
Yeah,
too.
that was.
Yeah.
And so you could just
That's
be a
how
cheap bastard and just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go catch all the birds. Catch. Oh, Mewtwo, catch." It's
That's what most of my friends did.
But I mean, if you don't like cheat yourself that way, even though it's not really cheating yourself, because I think it's kind of frustrating those. But it's kind of nice just when you're trying to like catch all the Pokemon in the game and then level them up. That's
Yeah.
really like trying to get 150. Like it really saves you a lot of time, and I don't even consider that like cheating right there. That's
No,
just
yeah,
just not
for sure.
wasting my time.
Exactly. It was ridiculous.
Like who the fuck's gonna sit there and train like that? Like I would never do
I
that.
wouldn't do that. But yeah.
What are like kind of like strange like offshoot Pokemon games? was
I'm
there?
drawing a blank on those.
I'm trying to think what was.
Remember the comics?
Yeah.
Oh, the Pokemon
The
comics.
comics, yeah, the Pokemon
The
comics.
first 8 issues.
I loved those. I had those, but the weird thing about them is they jumped around a little.
Well,
They
the
did.
first like 3 or 4 issues went like in a great steady pace.
Yeah.
They were totally smooth. They went through it, and they were like way better than the show too.
Yeah.
Like, the way that it was like a little bit more adult oriented. I mean, if
Yeah.
you could say
Like
that.
It
you said-
wasn't really like ultra dark, but it was almost like the way they drew the characters.
It was treated seriously.
the
more
way
than-
they drew the characters, like the animals, they actually looked more like how you think they look in real life.
and
Yeah.
and just even the characters and like general just looked more like it looked like you were watching like
Even-
Dragon Ball Z, Full Metal Alchemist, like
Yeah.
something like that.
And it wasn't like ultra dark, but there were moments where actually this is actually because if you're used to playing the game and watching the cartoon, it actually got kind of dark. There's like there's what's her name, the psychic gym, Sabrina.
Uh-huh.
Sabrina, she was like constantly haunted by like a hunter, like a haunter or something. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Haunter? Yeah, haunter.
Haunter.
But they treated it like some demon that possessed their
Yeah.
family
Well,
and
the
killed people. It actually.
I had it was like by issue 5 or something like that. It literally just jumped like Ash just had like 5 badges already.
Yeah, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, like they just totally like cheapened out. Like
One, I'm kind of wondering. I don't know if this is true, but I'm just kind of wondering. What if like you know what, some shit kind of happened in the Japanese version. We can't bring this shit over to America. Let's just like edit it out. It's a possibility.
Yeah, maybe.
that much editing though, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe just like 1 or 2 things just kind of work way around in each one. I don't know.
Now I want to talk about a little bit the Pokemon show. Now the Pokemon show, going back to that, I remember for me, like I watched it until about 5th grade, 6th grade, stopped watching it for a while, and then I stopped. And then like I think Spencer and I were in college, and we're like, hey, let's
it
get
came out on DVD.
Yeah, it came out on DVD. We're like, oh my god, you can get Pokemon on DVD now. And we bought like all 3 sets, and like
72 episodes or
and
something.
college was so easy, so we would just sit there and like watch the entire Pokemon like first 3 seasons all the way up
I
to the
think,
Indigo
I
Plateau.
think we literally watched that like in like under 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like,
I mean, we like raped those discs.
yeah, that was amazing. So we had that like little second gathering of Pokemon.
I
Or
remember.
no, that was more like the third.
Third, yeah, probably. I'm probably gonna have another one soon because that game is that show is a great show.
Well,
I watched that show up until he got to. I mean, actually no, I watched it through the Orange Islands, and then once he actually got to, once he got his ass kicked at the Indigo Plateau, that's where I just kind of stopped watching. Once he got his ass kicked,
Yeah,
and then
they
they presented the Gold and Silver, and that's like that's just when I lost my interest in the franchise in general.
See, but WB kids, like, they fucked me over a lot earlier.
Yeah. Now,
I didn't even get that close.
something that always kind of, it's a small nitpicky thing, but it always pissed me off. It felt a little cheap to me. Is in the show, after about every like 10 to 15 episodes, there would be an episode that had nothing to do with anything, and it would be Ash, but like he would be Ash backwards 6 months, like before before Charizard. Even though like the episode before he had Charizard, all of a sudden he had Charmander again. It was like,
No, there is
what the hell? Like the Christmas episode.
There were some
that.
episodes. What happened is there were some episodes that they didn't view safe for kids, so they had to edit them back. And this is like, what was it, entertainment for kids, and they just bastardized shit. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
Pokemon's not really a adult show in Japan either, but some of the stuff that their kids can handle, they don't think our kids can handle.
Yeah. But
So-
they were totally out of sequence.
So sometimes they
yeah.
would bring an episode like, all right, well, we got this one all fixed out. We found ways around it, so here it is. That's why some episodes just come
So
later.
they came out of place.
Yeah, sometimes they
Yeah.
would.
Let's go ahead and say what is your favorite episode of the original series of Pokemon? Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh fuck, I don't remember.
Like you don't have to remember the name, just like what happened in.
I guess if I had
Episode
a favorite
42.
if I had a favorite episode, I don't know, because the thing is, it's one of those things like it's not that I dislike Pokemon. It had its time and its place for me, but I'm not really that much into it anymore. But the one I remember watching and really liking was the one where he got Charmander for the first time.
Yeah. Charmander.
Yeah.
Return! I felt bad for he's like underneath a leaf. That stupid Australian guy would like just kind of dumped him there.
Oh,
Yeah.
left him to die.
I thought that episode, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
that was such a sad. Actually, to this day, I still thought it was sad. Last time I watched that episode, it was sad.
It was a sad one.
There was a lot of sad episodes
Yeah.
in actually.
Then there,
For me, my absolute favorite episode, it's one of the funniest episodes too, is Showdown at Dark City.
Oh, I love that episode.
When they go to that like gang war world and it's got like the like that Scyther and then the Electabuzz goes like.
It's like that episode is really kind of a fistful of dollars when you
No,
think
it
about
really
it.
Yeah,
is.
it is. Yeah, yeah, but it's like that's what they did a lot of episodes. They took like old classic movies or old like spaghetti westerns something like that and made them into a Pokemon episode when they ran out of ideas, I guess. But that was such a cool episode. I remember Spencer and I watched that episode and we're like, why the fuck is Electabuzz like on crack or something? Like,
Like,
let's
what's
say
like-
Electabuzz.
Well, he would never. I don't remember walking. I remember he hopping, just always hopping in the
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about it though. Okay, out of any Pokemon out there, I would be the most afraid of Scyther.
Yeah.
That thing could kill
Blades
you
on his
so
hands.
easily. Scyther and Onix. I think those would be the two scariest Pokemons. Maybe Gyarados too. Like, God, some of these Pokemon would kill you so easily.
What about you, Spence?
Probably. That's such a hard one. Any episode's got a gym leader in it are most always the better episodes, in my opinion. Those are my
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
those ones I always liked a lot. I remember the Sabrina one being interesting.
That was like a two-parter because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
got possessed and turned into dolls and shit.
yeah,
That was a strange one. But yeah.
it was weird.
And he actually had to get help from a hunter to stop her.
And I remember the
Yeah.
Erica one, even though there was like no battling involved in that one.
Yeah, the Erica one because like you burn down the gym. I always hated Erica though. I always hated that gym. I always was like, yes, burn that stupid gym down. They don't
Fucking
they don't-
hippies!
They don't let men in this gym. Fuck you, women. Like it's like, come on.
I hate hippies.
I remember that episode because it's just like, no men allowed in this gym. What the fuck?
No,
He's
it
trying to be a fucking Pokemon master
Well,
here.
it was like he didn't like the perfume, so they say, "Get the fuck out of here! You don't like
It's like
perfume."
that's fucking illegal. That's fucking discrimination right there. Should be fucking
I
allowed to do whatever the hell he
Suck
wants.
my balls, Ash. That's Erica.
So you burn down the fucking gym. That's what you do.
See, I like the Lieutenant Surge one too because he's always just like, that Pikachu right there's a pussy.
Yeah, I know.
What, you can't evolve it? Look at mine. He's over there lifting weights and jerking off at the same time.
Give him
You
another
realize how
Thunderbolt,
many ears
Raichu.
that Raichu's collected in fucking Nam?
He always reminded me of like a really, really buff version of what Noodles from Offspring.
Oh yeah.
That's what Lieutenant Surge
Are you
always-
thinking of like?
I never thought of
You're
that.
thinking of Dexter the singer?
Dexter, yeah, not Noodles. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
That was a great.
Well, the thing that kind of stopped me from watching the show was after a while, there's no progress. Like every episode, it's like we gotta help this Clefairy sing. We gotta teach this like polywog sex ed. They're just running out of shit after a while.
Well, that's
Yeah.
really one of those series that's like there's like 70 episodes,
That was
but
by
there's
now.
a lot of filler in it. One time about the original series.
yeah, a lot of filler.
That show has a lot of. See, people say Dragon Ball Z has filler, and in my personal opinion, like the filler that's in Dragon Ball Z, I actually kind of like most of that stuff. I mean, I know some stuff's kind of long,
Yeah.
but I personally actually like the filler in Dragon Ball Z. But Pokemon sometimes has a ridiculous amount where it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, just get to it.
And that's why I
I
stopped
know.
watching the show. Really.
That and something that bothered me about that is like, okay, even though Team Rocket is cool,
They're fucking retarded after.
It was retarded and repetitive. It's like, come on, you could cut 6-7 minutes out of the show if you just take the teamwork.
You'd think they'd kind of like, after like 10 years of trying to get this shit down, you think they would have got kind of like an idea of how to get better at it.
And why the hell would Giovanni waste billions and billions of dollars on all this crap they buy to get one stupid Pokemon? It's like, come on.
Well, at first, like in the first couple episodes, they're actually treated like badasses, but
They
then they're
are
treated
treated-
like comic relief as it goes on.
Yeah, I know.
I guess it's just easier to write them that way for whatever reason.
I remember
but, yeah.
James had a different voice for the first few episodes.
Yeah.
Well, he was very much like, "Hello, I am James."
It's like, oh, James, the Pokemon.
Ooh, right.
And then the weirdest part too is because like James would always dress up as a woman, and Jesse would always dress up as a man.
yeah, I didn't question it.
So I remember as a kid, you're like, what's going on here?
I know who's the butch and who's the bitch.
Well, yeah, like when you're a kid, you did like things like that was like they kind of like in a sense blew your child's mind because you never thought of a man dressing like a woman and a woman dressing like a man.
We covered this real briefly in the Sonic the Hedgehog retrospect, of all
yeah.
things. But no, there's one where James, there's like one of the lost episodes. James went into like a bikini contest as pretending to be a woman. He had like
Yes.
inflatable tits.
Yeah,
and
I
he
remember that.
Pumped them up, and they eventually exploded.
Yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah.
Okay, well we're getting towards the end, but I got one final question: who do you think is the hottest character in Pokemon, as far as the girls, not Pokemon?
Oh.
No bestiality.
Let's... oh, God.
I would so fuck Jigglypuff.
Okay, I gotta
You
say
gotta
right
go
now-
back to your like
No,
10-year-old 4th grade mind when like anime chicks being hot was like better than like a real chick.
There's only one, and there'll always be only one. Gary's sister May, the comic book version.
Oh, well, yeah, 'cause she had big tits.
That was the one. That was the best one.
But no, let's say let's say just kind of show
Out of the
slash
show.
game.
Probably. I always thought Officer Jenny was really hot.
See, I always thought Erica was really hot.
I'm gonna be the generic one, Misty.
Yeah, I never. I thought she
I
was.
thought
Always,
she was a bitch.
yeah,
but
I thought she was obnoxious and like
but
redhead.
whatever.
I got a
always just
thing
thought
for
Officer-
redheads, so
I
I
always
don't
thought
know.
Officer Jenny was fucking sexy, but that's that. Anyway,
Well,
that's our Pokemon chat, I guess.
I was in the 4th grade. My standards were low.
I didn't care.
Oh, wow. Women in a TV show and they're hot. It's not Bugs Bunny. Yeah. Alright.
Pokemon's great. I love Pokemon.
Good
I can't
stuff.
wait till the next Pokemon game out. I actually really like Pokemon White and Black. I thought that almost gave me that trip back to memory lane. Those ones.
I'll have to borrow that from you at some point.
Yeah, well, you have to buy it because they once again they only have one save file each.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, after Ruby
That's
and
a
Sapphire.
fucking genius marketing
Well,
strategy.
after Ruby and Sapphire, they went, fuck that. We lost money on this. We got to just go back to the one save file thing.
Yeah.
But no, I recommend that one really highly because everything is new. There's no old Pokemon in it, which at first you're like, what? But it almost gives you that same feeling of playing Pokemon for the first time again, but in a newer game.
Yep.
That's great. And they're making sequels to that coming up, so it'll be cool.
All right.
So, yeah, I guess that's a good place to end it. My name's Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Cisco Garcia.
We'll see you guys later.